Hello and welcome to another episode of Teach Talks with me, Lauren. This week we are acknowledging Mental Health Awareness Week. And today's guest, she's my best friend, she's a law paralegal, and I had nothing else to say about her even though I've known her for over 20 years. It's Lisa! Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you.
Good.
Okay, so how did you feel about me asking you to do this today? Because talking about mental health's a bit, it's a bit of a tricky subject.
I think being friends is helpful because we have discussions anyway about, if we're having a hard time and things like that. We're, I think, fairly open with one another about anything that we're going through. So, it's always a bit like nerve-wracking, I think, to speak about your mental health because it's not something that you just chat to anyone and everyone about, unfortunately. I think it should be, but yeah.
Do you find it easier to talk to people that you know rather than people that you don't know?
I think for the most part, probably people I don't know. Yeah. Because I don't feel, they don't know me, so they don't have like any sort of preconception about me. I feel like if there's less judgment, I might never see you again, so I'm not that bothered. But on the flip side, with someone that you do know, they can maybe relate to you a little bit more because they do know you and they can kind of say, you've not been yourself, or I can tell that you've been like this, or I went through something similar and this really helped me. So I think there's like, for me, pros and cons in both.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about your childhood and then go on to talk about your education as well.
Okay, childhood, I think fairly normal. I don't know.
Who did you live with? Who's in your house?
Mum and dad, an only child, so no siblings. I think, like through primary school, I look back and I think like, what a great time. Like it was just with your friends all the time.
Yeah, because we was in the same primary
class.
Oh, just primary and infant school, wasn't it? We didn't go to the same secondary school, so.
Primary, I feel like I really enjoyed. I think year 6 was like a little bit different because it was that feeling of like, oh my God, it's coming to an end. Obviously, I went to a different secondary school than pretty much everyone in our class. So that was really like a really horrible first day.
It was sad, wasn't it? I think end of year 6. I think we were crying.
Everyone was crying.
Everyone was just crying. We was all signing our t-shirts. It was really fun. But it was kind of the unknown of what was going to happen next. But with our little minds, we were just sad to not see our friends anymore. We didn't really worry about much else.
And that's what I think it is. Like when you're a kid, you don't worry really about anything. Yeah. You just get up, you go to school, you see your friends, you have a bit of fun, and you go home and watch CBBC and eat some sweets. But I think as you get older, things worry you more.
100%. Yeah. So how do you feel that mental health was portrayed within a sort of infant school, primary school, even in secondary school? How much do you think was spoken about with mental health? I mean, when we were at school, it wasn't a thing. I literally said this to Rachel in our previous video the other day. It wasn't a thing.
It wasn't spoken about.
If you were sad, you were just sad.
Yeah, that was it. It was just very like basic emotions. If you were sad, it didn't mean anything other than you were sad.
And we never had anyone come in to talk about mental health or to talk about our feelings, or when we were doing our SATs, we never had teachers sort of sit us down and say, how are you feeling about your SATs? Are you worried about anything?
I remember our SATs, there was one, I think it was one of the last ones, and I was really, really nervous, and I remember where the reception was, sitting on one of the chairs. And I think for me, when I get anxious, I feel sick. But as a child, I just was like, oh, I feel sick. Why do I feel sick? I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
That's it.
And I remember explaining that to a teacher, and I said, I really don't feel well. And she literally just like clicked her fingers and pointed and was like, get in there. And I was like,
got on with it.
Oh, okay. And you did. You just got up, you went and sat, and you didn't think anything more of it.
Exactly. Talking with Rachel in our previous video, she's a teaching assistant. She was saying how more openly teachers are talking about mental health to these young children. And it's difficult, isn't it, when you're a kid, because you don't really understand your emotions. You kind of just go with the flow.
And even if your friend's upset, you might say, oh, what's wrong? And they could say whether it's a personal thing or something in school, and you're just like, oh, feel better. You don't know to ask like the questions.
Like, now it's kind of pull them to one side, sit them down. How are things at home? How are you feeling? You're asking all these questions, which is a good thing, really.
I think so.
But it's so strange how, you know, sort of 10 years ago when, well, longer than that now, I think, when we were at school.
20 years ago.
Oh gosh, a lot longer than that. It's crazy to think how much things have changed over this period of time. But no.
What about you? What for you? Like, I know we went to the same primary school, but what?
Honestly, I didn't. Obviously, mental health, the two words together weren't a thing.
No,
it was not a thing.
No.
It probably was a thing in the air, but it wasn't a thing that was sat down with us and spoken about.
No.
But for me, like, if I was worried about my exams, I was just worried. And if I'd fallen out with friends and I was upset, I was just upset. There was no one that pulled me aside and said, oh, do you want to talk about it? No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd go to my mum and she'd maybe talk a little bit with me about it.
Yeah.
But you just got on with it. I like now that, you know, when I have children, I'll be able to sit with them and I'll be able to say, are you okay? Like, how are you sort of feeling? Because it's nice to talk about your feelings, because when you do talk about it, you actually feel so much better. After a good cry,
absolutely.
you have a talk about it, you feel so much better. So how do you manage your mental health when you find that things sort of get a little bit on top of you? What sort of things do you do to help manage your mental health?
I think for me it's something that is it's something that I'm struggling with more recently. So I think for quite a long time I think because we were brought up with that get on with it attitude, that's what I thought was correct for so many years. So if I was ever feeling like, when I started working or when I went to uni or anything like that, if anything was worrying me, or I had that mentality of, oh, I just need to get on with it, and then it got to a point where I was like, I can't get on with it anymore, like I need to, this isn't right and I need to talk about it. So I'm still kind of navigating what's best for me, how to deal with it. And I think it depends where I am. If I'm somewhere busy, maybe just like putting my AirPods in, listening to a bit of music, just something else to focus on, or just kind of watching one of my favourite shows, just something. For me, I think it's anything that I can put my attention to and really get involved with to stop me thinking about other things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but for me, I'm still kind of navigating what works and what doesn't. What do you do?
For me, it's like the escape. I always call it the escape of being able to exit this world and enter another world. So I love all my sort of fantasy stuff, my Harry Potters, and I love my audiobooks and stuff like that. So for me, that's my escape. But I love to put some earphones in and just kind of forget about everything that's going on. But like you say, sometimes it is really hard, because if something, quite not very nice is going on and you're trying to escape from that, it is really hard. Even simple things like a bubble bath, or just taking 5 minutes to just do a bit of yoga and breathing exercises, and just try and get everything sort of back on track in terms of yourself. But it is really hard. It just depends on the person, doesn't it?
And it's different. Like some days you could be feeling a little bit anxious or something, but it's not that overwhelming, and you think, okay, what can I do? And other times I think your mind can just be racing, and everything you're thinking and feeling is so overwhelming that nothing, you just have to I call it like riding it out. You just have to go with it, and just, whether you need a good cry or you just need to sit and just go with your feelings and how you're feeling, and then just wait to kind of come out the other end, which is horrible. But I find that sometimes when I am so overwhelmed, even if I'm trying to do something else, it's still like in there.
It's what works best for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to round this off with some short sentences, that you have to complete for me. Okay. Speaking about mental health in education is
important.
Oh, there you go. just short and sweet, love it. Okay, my mental health is better when?
I would say when I'm around my family, around friends, and in a comfortable environment, somewhere that's like happy for me, whether that be, I don't know, in a park having a picnic.
And I'm happiest when?
I think, it depends. I'm either happiest when I'm in bed watching a bit of true crime or watching some Friends or something. Or I like a good night out, having a dance, that makes me happy. Just like being around people that bring out the best in me and make me laugh and make me happy, that makes me happy.
Fabulous. Lisa, thank you so much. You've been amazing. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yay.
Thanks everyone. Yay.